history, especially over the last couple of years, where they do phenomenally, like unbelievably in the regular season, and then they go to the mid-tournaments that we have, and then they kind of fall off. But then they come to a place like this in playoffs, and then they suddenly show up. I hope it's a big Spark, not a small one that's going to end up dying out, because right now, they are definitely, I tweeted it the other day, Spark are definitely one of the more entertaining teams to watch, just at the caliber of players. And seeing Shy just click heads is, it never gets old.
Yeah, it's been very fun to watch all of the DPS pop off, but the Lucios too? Superich with so many environmentals in that first map, and then also how Admiral has been able to control the ultimates coming out from the Hangzhou SPARK. Definitely need to keep your eyes on the supports as well. But Hangzhou SPARK are going to go ahead and start off King's Row on the defense. And looking at Hybrid, it's really interesting because both of these teams are quite good at this game mode. You've got a 63% win rate here for London SPITFIRE, 71 for Hangzhou SPARK. Backbone trying to go for a quick pick on the Widowmaker, but eventually does settle back over to the Reaper.
Yeah, so no funny business here. Trying to go quick as possible. That's what's best about this kind of comp. You can go fairly fast, although people sometimes do take a little while to die. A lot of mobility, a lot of ways to negate damage. The Suzu even break for, of course. Oh, wow! How did Backbone die there? Just a regular body shot with a railgun. Okay. Now Sparkr looking to even things up. Alphayi's right in front of his face. Oh my God, that was the easiest shot in the world, and of course Sparkr hits it. The whole of the Spark there. If that was in overclock, that would have been another triple clap, I'm just saying. All right, Guxue and the rest of Spark have to back off now, Rose.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't do it without your front line, but Sparkr so split up here too. London SPITFIRE, they cannot go for the contest against the Spark though, because that might happen. Can't peek your head out.
If you can't hear the crowd already, every single time Shy gets a kill, it's a giant He's getting pressure, but look at the support right now from the Hangzhou SPARK, keeping him alive. Everyone's trapped in this small bookstore. Maybe a little bit too much to read in there. You're gonna have to get out at some point. London SPITFIRE gets at least gained a tick, but Shy being alive and a Kitsune rush plus the overclock. SPITFIRE got pain coming. They just don't know when it's coming out. Okay, Backbone wraiths away. You see everybody from the SPITFIRE trying to get out ASAP.
I think Admiral actually got stuck behind the point. Yeah, so that was a big chase down that happened from the Spark.
Yeah. He is fine though. Free tick for London. Okay, free tick. Spark are waiting for the perfect time to go in, but there might not be a perfect time now. The Kitsune rushes out. Alphayi using the Wraith form to get onto the point to contest it still, but with the beat, it's just an overwhelming amount of ultimates being thrown in, invested by the SPITFIRE. Looks nigh on unwinnable, and Shy just got a miracle couple of kills with the overclock. He didn't end up popping it, but we didn't see anything come up. London, they do get the payload going.
Well, it's because London were able to identify Shy was going for the overclock, and then they started to play around Hotel. So they used the architecture of the map to save themselves from being clicked by Shy. But now at this point as well, London SPITFIRE, yes, they did end up layering both of their support ultimates, but they do have the ultimate advantage when it comes to the DPS. Backbone and Spark are both ready to go with ultimates of their own.
Disrupting.
Now where are we looking? It looks like a little bit of a split hit for Spark. Ooh, the Guxue was on the high ground, but I think they spotted Hadi too. So Guxue doesn't want to be in a position where he can't get to the rest of his team if Hadi ends up kind of jumping in. So he retreats just a little bit. A little bit of mental warfare, it felt like there, between Guxue and Hadi. And Spark is now just teasing these corners, looking for these shots. The overclock's going to come out as well, but that bubble was almost too perfect, and it was actually. I take it back. Spark even a little bit surprised there, raising his eyebrows in a little bit of disbelief. There's now Guxue unleashing that primal rage. Oh, you know it's coming to you. You got to be careful. Admiral, though, got his skates on, running rings around Guxue, but running straight into death as the rest of the Spark reps clean up.
Hangzhou SPARK shut down both Sparkr and Backbone's ultimates. Pretty big decisions coming out from Spark as well. I mean, London SPITFIRE were really hoping that both of those ultimates would convert over to value and get that payload over the line for that second point. But London SPITFIRE have to go back to the drawing board as they're relying now on Hadi's Primal Rage to buy them enough space and time.
You need Landon to get that Kitsune rush online ASAP. Ooh. Teru's damage stats. Kind of talked about it earlier, but, well, at least on the desk. Unreal stuff. Like, yeah, you need to heal your team more, but if you're killing people, it don't matter about the heals. Nice Suzu. Kitsune Rush used by both teams. Landon was bought enough time there to earn his, and as Guxue just dies in the front line. A Death Blossom, over-eager from Alphayi as Backbone uses that Wraith Walk to get out of the way. And now a Primal Rage from Hadi to bash everybody out of the line of sight for the rest of the London Spitfire. Because now there's 5 people on the payload. I'm wondering who can touch for the Spark. Superich, Shy are on the case, but looks like Spark is just gonna let this one go.
Yeah, Spark just don't want to overextend, because if they do, they could get punished, and that's more of the map gone, but the pressure and aggression coming out from the London Spitfire are going to set Spark back a little bit here.
A small ult difference here for Spitfire with that beat. Man, Sparkr and Shy just playing their own little 1v1 for the majority of this game, it feels like, just tagging each other, trying to get a railgun shot off. All right, Hadi's going to at least try take control of that high ground. Guxue is going to match him, of course, but the payload has been moving for free for quite some time. Disruptor shot and a power slide to stop Guxue on the approach. And with that overclock, you do not want to mess with this. There's no way London Spitfire step up.
No, I mean, well, you don't have the Primal Rage available either from Hadi, so it's a little bit more difficult for the team to contest that Sojourn.
And look how long he's waiting on this corner. What game are we playing? All right, okay. He does end up power slide all the way back. As soon as you see that shot go off, you know Spitfire are going to make an approach. He's already back to 100 energy. Primal Rage for Guxue. Perfect tool to get people in the sight lines of Shy. But look at London, playing so scared right now. And again, it's been pretty easy for Spark. Just one ultimate investment, burning the time bank down of the Spitfire.
At this point, they have 2 minutes remaining. They've still pushed that payload pretty far, and that's a lot of time to work with, especially when they've got both of their support ultimates up and running. But Guxue is kind of hiding over here in the corner.
Ooh, that was close. All right, Spark using that power slide to get away. He was wiggling his mouse just a little bit, just to make sure he doesn't get a headshot for Guxue, just on the flank constantly. And there's even a beat from the Hangzhou SPARK here. Yes, this is a go again for the Spitfire. Absolutely no way. Beat to counter the Kitsune Rush combo. And now London, they're going to have 4 ultimates coming back in, but with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, looking unlikely they're going to finish with time.
No, but it's still looking good for them in terms of the ultimate economy. Hangzhou SPARK are still trying to get that Death Blossom online, and that's going to be the closest thing that they have. At least that means that they might be able to come back in and contest, but London Spitfire should win this next fight.
Look how close Spark are playing right now. Zero fear in their blood. The beat and the Primal Rage used to push the Spark all the way back, and now the Spark are split. How does Teru kind of handle this situation? You see those cards being thrown at Shy from across the way, but that bubble stops all the healing as Shy ends up going down. And now Sparkr collects the overclock, trying to find people, but Superich a little bit too slippery. The payload is still moving, Rose, and with 50 seconds to go, Spark is finally coming alive. Guxue is going to pop the Primal to cause some disruption and stopping Sparkr from dealing even more damage.
Right, but I mean, at this point, Admiral's down, so the movement capabilities of London Spitfire are a bit mitigated. And so they're going to back off and wait for Admiral to come back in. But this will be final fight as 30 seconds remain. And Hangzhou SPARK, they've got ultimates to spare. Backbone, though, this Death Blossom's got to be big. Setting
himself up for success right now. You can see him looking at the back line, but an instant boot from Superich shuts him down, and Shy with a cherry on top. And now Admiral pretty low. He's the only one on the payload he needed to touch. 4 meters to go for the London Spitfire as the Spark push them to their bleeding edge. Hadi even getting booted back. If they find this kill, it's going to be a big stagger. A quick swap over to the Tracer for Backbone, but he's shut down. 2 checkpoints and a little bit of meterage is all the Spitfire are going to get on King's Row.
That was a really good effort by them. Absolutely. I mean, when you look at how far that payload has moved and how much Hangzhou SPARK pushed them to their limits, they were still able to overcome that, and the payload's not too far away from the final destination.
Just the ability for Spark to play so slowly at the very end of that. London had 4 ults coming into that fight, and slowly but surely Spark were kind of whittling away that ult bank. You saw Hadi jump in with a Primal, but they also laid it with a beat. Unkillable Winston, but he's not doing a crazy amount of damage with the amount of like peel coming out from the Hangzhou SPARK there. And they were just able to recoil enough to build their own ults and then come back in. You even saw Backbone try and go for a Desperation Death Boss with payload. Didn't work out.
I mean, not even that, but also how Hangzhou SPARK were playing so patiently around Sparker's overclock. when they saw that come online, they just waited right around the corner here. But Superich, I mean, this Lucio has been so impressive, and I feel like we just don't talk about the Lucios enough. Just why I try to put a little bit more focus on that. But it's really easy to do when it's Superich, and you can see the visual impact that this Lucio is having by making sure that Backbone's Death Blossom gets displaced, but also going in for that high damage.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to pick out how much a main support is actually doing. You're kind of invisible at times, a little bit like Scott is. Right, next round. Hangzhou SPARK have a clear goal line here. I mean, 2 points, and we'll call it 3. It basically was on that last point. See how London SPITFIRE want to defend a very different look. Look how far back they're playing. They're giving almost the entire, like half at least, not entirety, but half of this first section of the map away for free. Letting Guxue do what he wants to. He's taking the high ground already.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a space maker here for the Hangzhou SPARK, especially when Guxue is going to play a little bit more away from the team. He makes himself a big target, but London SPITFIRE aren't going to fall for that, but they did just get corralled into the hotel.
Yeah, doing a little wrap around. Only a one-day stay at the hotel as the London SPITFIRE now on the opposite end of things. They have forced the raid form out of Alphayi. For Shy's he's just firing for free right now. Hadi eventually pays attention to it, but look at the space that Shy is getting provided right now, not only by Superich, but Alphayi too. He's playing goalkeeper right now. That net is Shy. They need to just take him down, but it's looking impossible for London. They are so low too, and Landon's completely caught out.
Yeah, he just didn't have the movement available to be able to get back into this one, and when Hadi and Landon got split up, of course Hangzhou SPARK are going to capitalize on that and take this first point.
Okay, finally Shy is dead, but it's too late. The Hangzhou SPARK claiming map number 1. 5 minutes in that time bank. All right, show us what you got. New emote, by the way.
Yeah, the dance.
The next battle pass.
From
the
Alphayi. I love that. The Alphayi is what we'll call it. But at this point, you need to also look at maybe the Teru, because the Kitsune Rush is going to be really impactful in this one. Superich, this is another testament to how well this Lucio is doing. The fact that he has Sound Barrier online as the first ultimate in this round is really impressive. And so now Hangzhou SPARK not only have the damage output from the Kitsune Rush, but the Sound Barrier too. Kitsune Rush, Sound Barrier available for the Spark. They might not even need it. A lot of damage and healing coming out from Teru right now. Guxue is just tearing them to pieces. Like, what can you do if you're London in that situation? You need that Sound Barrier to sustain through all that damage. And now they got double DPS ult. They got the beat. The payload's going around this corner. The SPITFIRE, I guess at least they have Kitsune Rush, but we know how reactionary Spark have been. Instant disengages. They might not even need to blow that beat unless they are too deep. Yeah, I mean, this is a notoriously difficult spot for the attacking team to try to get through without investing a lot of ultimates. But if the Spark are able to just kind of win in the neutral, then this is going to be really big for them moving into that third point.
Like Spark wanted to bait people in there with Alphayi in the subway tunnel. There's the beat as Hadi jumps in. He gets booped into the Mega Health Pack room and hand delivered to Alphayi. But that beat from SPITFIRE came out in time to save Backbone, resulting in a kill onto the enemy Reaper. Both support ultimates invested, but the London SPITFIRE knowing without Hadi, it's hard to really approach this and take control of positioning with that bubble. So they can play just on this corner for this time. I mean, you still had a kill traded, right? So it was kind of even. Hadi is back into the mix. We'll see him want to go in again.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, Hangzhou SPARK, since they have very limited resources in the tank, they need Shy to pop off like that in order to give them that player advantage. This is what they're looking for. The mechanical skill is allowing Spark to overwhelm.
All right, overclock. That bubble is like, what is more frustrating than that as a Sojourn player? That bubble basically stopped half that ultimate. I mean, what can you do? You have to shoot it, right? You have to beg your team to also shoot it. Kitsune Rush for Teru on the point. London SPITFIRE nowhere near those DPS ultimates right now, or the support ultimates, or any ultimates in fact, and all of them sitting on the Mega Health Pack. That payload's going to get sunk in. Hadi gets booped away and put down. Admiral the last to touch, but the payload's already been completed. The Hangzhou SPARK are just steamrolling right now, paving the London streets. Oh, Landon. Oh my God. Okay, Landon with the heroics at the very end, but Shy comes out on top.
that was so important for Landon to be able to get those kills as well. Because as things were looking, Hangzhou SPARK were going to be able to just steamroll their way through if London Spitfire had too many casualties and too many staggers. So that's really what Landon did there, is just made sure that Spitfire had some time to come back in and get a good recontest as 5.
Oh, that would have been cheeky shy there. Did ping that TPing Reaper. Guxue jumps in, jumps back in with that Primal Rage. Oh, Sparkr. Kitsune Rush and the beat are coming up for London Spitfire, but they may already have been dead. I mean, Admiral and Hadi, they're going to have to sustain through this, waiting for the rest of their team to come back. And Shy is free-firing, basically running up to Hadi, bumping his chest. Who's the king of this jungle? Right now it is Shy. Hadi, nowhere to be found. 2 HP, fleeing to the spawn doors.
Oh, look at the Disruptor shot too, just gonna try to keep London Spitfire at bay.
2 meters to go though, and Alphayi dueling backbone on the payload, a complete disengage from the Spark. They know they've bitten off all they can chew. Just waiting for Shy to find a pick, but no, it is Sparkr this time around.
And this isn't influential for London Spitfire to be able to whittle away at this 2.5-minute time bank that Hangzhou SPARK have left to work with. But when they've got the Kitsune Rush and they also have the ability to enable the Alphayi Death Blossom, let's see what Admiral can do to keep that at bay, or maybe even if Backbone's Death Blossom can just be bigger.
Looking at this Kitsune Rush for Teru. That's how they want that second point, bros. I mean, just setting Alphayi up here for a big Death Blossom might be the name of the game. There's the Kitsune Rush. That bubble just needs to be destroyed now. Alphayi can go crazy. He's diving in and out of the bubble, but Backbone ends up killing him. Now Sparkr with the overclock. He does manage to land a headshot, but that payload just walking into the point. That ping box of victory so close for the Spark now.
Look at this, just 3 meters away, and Sparkr really needs a pick here in order to buy some time for reinforcements to come back.
Shy being too aggressive. I'm talking about how him and Sparkr were dueling for the most part. This time, him being a bit over aggro. Hadi eventually ends up punishing him. Much easier to punish someone in this kind of architecture. Not many places to really dive back to if you're Sparkr.
Looking good for London Spitfire though, because they do have the Kitsune Rush, and that's a great thing to use right at this straightaway and layer it over the point. Hangzhou SPARK though, they need these ultimates to come online. Guxue and Shy almost ready.
Minute to go as Guxue once again just obliterates Sparkr and just booping everybody for the London Spitfire straight into the line of sight to Spark. Shy's coming alive. The beat comes out in time for the Spitfire, but it doesn't manage to get Hadi. Look at the pressure on Shy right now. Hadi coming up big. He's had a quiet map so far, but eventually takes out the Warlord Shy. 49 seconds to go. As the Spark, once again, are going to have to reset.
And what a heavy investment from them in this second to last fight as well. The Sojourn overclock, the sound barrier, even the primal reach from Guxue were all invested. And that means that Teru's Kitsune Rush is going to have to be the last saving grace for the Spark. But London Spitfire, maybe Sparkr's overclock comes online, or he's able to get a big pick here to keep London Spitfire in this series.
Teru and Shy, 2 players we've talked about a lot already. We've got to see more from them right now. A nice swift step into the Kitsune Rush. And here it is. Backbone forced to rake, and he's 1 HP. Alphayi sees his mark, diving straight in, playing in and out of that bubble super well, but Sparkr comes up huge. A kill onto Shy might just do it. And now it is just Alphayi for the Spark to do the damage. But Sparkr is left completely free up on the high ground.
Okay, this too, the Disruptor shot to try to push Hangzhou SPARK away, but overtime's
ticking down, 2 meters to go for the Spark, and they need to touch, but they can't quite get there. The London Spitfire will take King's Row, tying this series up. Strong mentals at the very end. A 5-minute time bank for the Spark on last point, but the London Spitfire not giving up hope.
No, that was absolutely coming down to the last second there. Overtime in effect. London Spitfire absolutely activated on at that final point, and that defense was so ironclad.